This is update for October 19, 2023, day 603 of the war, and of the date update. Also catch up for October 18 and 17. As you can see from the picture, Ukraine got ATACMS rockets from the US. Ukraine got the sort of least capable, I guess, the best way to describe it, rocket. The range is 165 kilometers. They are about like manufactured in 1996, which and on the other hand, it makes sense. It's just the ones that sort of about to expire, they're being used up on the battlefield, and makes a lot of sense. So what does this mean practically from strategic perspective? It's not gonna, this 165 kilometer missile is not gonna change anything strategically. Yes, it's gonna be harder for Russia. There is even immediate negative consequences for Russian military. As you probably seen, Ukrainian forces destroyed airfield that had attack helicopters on it near Donetsk. So actually, let's just move here. So this is where it was attacked in this area. It was pretty successful attack. So what this really means is that typically Russian forces, they had helicopters closer to front line, and so now they have to move, and the radius is enough to hit targets in the northern Crimea. Which is essentially what this really means, that helicopters have to be moved pretty far away. That makes them barely usable as a ground attack support. So that's on the negative for Russian side. The sort of mitigating thing for this is that role of helicopters and airplanes is extremely minimal at this point. There's really they not sort of make it. They're not the tool that makes it or breaks it on battlefield, and not even close. They are extremely their role extremely minimal. So while it sounds pretty, I'd say the picture looks good from a propaganda perspective. From a practical perspective, it's not going to change much. If Ukraine gets 300-kilometer range missiles, that could be some difference, because at that point Ukraine can effectively cut off Crimea from Russia, and that's obviously going to be a big, huge problem for Russia. That just from that perspective, again, purely from military perspective, it's not going to have any immediate and insignificant impact on Russian forces, basically. But overall, it's definitely positive development. It's definitely helps. It saves lives and so on. But there's no reason to hope that this is gonna somehow change the war immediately in Ukrainian favor or anything even close to that. Now I'm gonna do walks through the battlefield. Starting from very north, and then I'm going to do it in clockwise fashion. So the situation along the state border remains more or less the same, no essential changes. Now let's look at North Lugansk front line. Russian troops are pretty active tactically. Again, this is not any major offensive, not even large-scale attack. It's all tactical, small-scale attacks. They are obviously annoying for Ukrainian troops, but from a strategic perspective, they're meaningless essentially. There's no meaningful advances by Russian troops here. Now let's move to the North Donbass front line. The northern section is fairly quiet, as it's pretty much always is. The southern is sort of barely active. There is some extremely low-scale Russian attacks around this areas where they lost ground, around Avdiyivka, Andriivka, but essentially nothing is really happening here on both sides. Now let's move to central Donbass front line. things here sort of stabilized for Ukrainian side. Ukrainian military command brought in some reserves, and basically situation stabilized. Russian troops also continuing their attacks, so it's kind of like turning into typical World War One, battle for Verdun or Verdun. Not sure what's the proper accent there, but basically it's slowly but surely turning into meat grinder, where we're gonna be probably observing this for a while without probably meaningful result from Russian side, obviously, but it's Ukrainian side is clearly on defensive in this situation, and then never-ending Russian attacks around Marinka. This is just an old picture. Just wanna sort of confirm no major changes here. Essentially, Ukrainian troops are holding their defensive line along this railroad line here. Now let's move to the Zaporizhya front line. Things here also without any meaningful changes. Russian troops are trying to do this extremely tactical counterattacks. They don't go essentially anywhere to recapture lost ground, and as I said, without any success. Now let's move to the situation along the Dnipro River, and actually there are news here. Ukrainian forces are becoming much more active. They established new bridgehead. They attempting to establish another one. Russian troops trying to counterattack, but they were not able to wipe out Ukrainian bridgeheads. And actually, this bridgehead is much better than the one that's along near this main bridge. It's called Antonievsky Bridge, because there essentially Ukrainian forces are stuck because it's narrow road with the swamps on the both sides, so you effectively cannot attack from it. So, and the same true for Russian side. So that's why this bridgehead was never Russian troops were never able to dislodge. This one is much better. There's not enough sort of complete picture, but there are reports that Ukrainian forces liberated one or two villages, and it's essentially opportunity to cut off this road that you can see here that goes along the Dnipro River, and essentially this is important road for Russian troops to be able to bring reinforcements south, or let's say northeast or southwest. So apparently Ukrainian command is sort of attempting to slowly build up opportunity in this area, and it might be that attack by Attack-MS was related to this, because what Ukrainian troops, they severely damaged airfield, and also those ground attack helicopters. This I don't remember the exact number, but 5 to 7 were destroyed. So again, this diminishes the Russian military ability to dislodge this this bridgehead. But again, as I said, the helicopters and airplane, they don't play major role at this point. The only sort of, I guess, importance is the gliding bombs that Russian airplanes they launch against Ukrainian forces, or not even forces. It's more the Russian side is attacking large military assets, such as warehouse, military depots, and so on. But they're not suitable for attacking, like a company or anything like that. So it has to be very valuable, a large target. The same true actually for Attack-MS. It's not a tool to attack regular troops. It's more tool to attack very important military installations or large military targets in the rear. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye-bye.